Hello again. On our previous few videos, we finished a site crawler. It's concurrent. It's Python. And it's really easy. Oh, it uses SQLite. And it's really easy to read and look at and to use. So this is pretty much the totality of the crawler right here. And it dropped a file onto the hard drive, which is about 12 megabytes right now, which we can step through and look at, which I was just listing errors here. There's fewer errors now than there was before. In fact, I'm going to delete that 12 megabyte file. I'm going to recrawl the entire thing, just showing you this from the top. Before I do the next step, which is going to be just grab some titles and descriptions and stuff. I'll put a few more functions in here for extracting things from pages, more than just the links and the whole view source grab that we're doing right now. So whenever you restart the kernel and clear all outputs, it's usually a pretty good idea to run all your cells from the top down up to where you're about up to, and this is what sets my home page. And couple of tests. This is the first link of the this is the first crawl of the home page. So these crawls that we do really do get seeded by a one-page crawl initially, right? And again, there's those 712 links. There's the old sequential way of doing this that I've edited out. This is what I'm working towards project-wise. There's a tuple project coming up, but before we do that, we will crawl. I don't even think I need to do all those 700 pages. Did I put that first one to hard drive yet? That's the question. Yeah, I did. So that first little crawl was committed to hard drive, or was it? It's just checking test URL, right? Yeah, that committed that test URL and its response, and then we're sitting on the links. And so we don't really even need to do this one. Honestly, I believe just going into here, no, that's not even the deep crawl. It's not that deep of a crawl, but I believe I should be able to just jump right into this, and this is going to crawl every page in those links, and every time it discovers a new thing, it's going to print a dot and print the URL of the page it discovered it on. There's not that many new ones being discovered. Each time we run this, it goes and visits pages it hasn't visited before, so that file grows in size on each run. One run is a one-click depth crawl, 2 runs is a 2-click depth crawl, and so on until you stop getting new URLs back. So these are the new URLs that are discovered. They're also the ones that are mostly broken, coming up 404s when I check for the errors. When that asterisk goes away, you'll know it's done. I should probably print a done statement at the end. Well, I do print how many total URLs have been found. That's a good thing. So there you go. A few more URLs are found. We'll do it one more time to make sure we've got all the URLs on the site. And then the errors that come back should be slightly fewer than before, because I actually went and I fixed a couple of the non-slashed links that were causing 301s, not 404s. The 404s I didn't fix yet, but I'll get to that. You'll just see that this next crawl here is not producing anything because all the links have been found after going, the second click depth into my site. It is currently quite pancaked because of me front loading all the links of the site on the home page. Not great SEO practice, but it was a good first step in preserving my old WordPress site that I pulled out of WordPress and moved over to github.io. So here's my errors that are currently on the site. You can see all the 301s are gone. It's just the 404s left. I'll purge those broken links out. But the important thing now is the fact that I actually do have the site sitting on my drive now. It's only 7 megabytes now. That's interesting. I wonder if that's going to pop any bigger or if I didn't commit things. because it got bigger in the past. Well, at any rate, this next step is going to show us stuff about it. So as you'll remember, this will spin through the whole database and just populate the data. It doesn't take long to do that. Populate the data once for each loop, so it's not like it's all sitting in memory right now, but it shows you how fast of an ability you have there. And so let's, look at the last piece of data. It was a 404. That's unfortunate. So I'm going to say if data dot status code is not equal, is equal to 200, then break. So that'll break when we're sitting on good data, and we can take a look at something that has some data inside of it. That's the HTML of the page. And we want that because I can use extraction functions that I'm copying and pasting over from SEO Kata, where I did this before. And we'll start with a real easy one. You'll see a lot of this stuff closely echoes the other one, because I'm pretty happy with SEO Kata. That's the best time to move stuff between libraries, to do a library update when you've got into a point you're happy with on the one that you did your sort of ad hoc work, your development work. So now we have extract title, and if you want to see all the titles of my site now, what we do is titles equals, and I'll make that, and so we'll say titles dot append extract title. And what are you extracting the title from? It's the view source, so you have to do data dot text in there. So here's all the titles of the site. Well, what URLs do those titles belong to? Instead of just appending the extracted title, we can put a tuple in there. Tup equals, and we'll say it's both the URL and it's the output of that function. And now we can append to that tup. Now it'll be a little more sensible when we print this, because it'll be URL and the title. Right? URL title, URL title, URL title, right? You can do a lot of good stuff in there. If you wanted a pandas data frame, right, you would do, import pandas as PD. And once you're sitting on pandas, you can do pd.dataframe titles columns equals URL title. Oh wait, that's got to be a list. Columns and 2 columns. It's because of this thing. Oh, I'm just doing a. Okay, well, I'm going to get rid of this for a second and just show you an instant success. Right, so there's a URL. There's the title that goes with it. Oh yeah, string termination could help. So there's a column name title, column name URL, and a column name title, right? So you could export that as a CSV file. That'll be just dropped right on here on your drive, just along with everything else. If we sort it by date modified, it should be right near the top. Double click on that and it'll load it into Excel. There's your URLs and titles. And of course, with the power of Python, on the crawl, and with the data you can do a lot more wonderful stuff than you ever could with, say, Screaming Frog and stuff. So let's get a few more extracting functions over there, right? Because it's so easy, so easy. I just grabbed extract title, but I also have all these other wonderful things. Extract apex, we did that together already. You can see we're near the top of the list. Extract body had interesting use. Now I have extract h1. Now chances are that's using another function that I have written, because I don't think I would ever write just an extract. Well, soup.h1, there it is. I guess these are the reasons I'm sort of redoing this, because I'm not happy with the way I did everything. So let's do an extract meta, and then this will certainly be a an extract meta link goes hand in hand with that, because links are different from normal metas. There's meta tags and there's link tags. I'm going to put them both in here just to kill two birds with one stone, and we'll probably do one for description to test it's working, and we'll do one for canonical to test it's working, right? So in addition to just the extract meta, I am sure I am using other functions that are going to be calling that, because extract description is such a common thing to do that I think we're going to find that here. Extract SERPs. So some interesting stuff to come. See if I wrote it, this extract description specifically. I did not. We will be doing that together. These are the logical next ones to do. So you can see I put extract meta and I put extract meta link. And so default link name is canonical here. That's important. And default link name is description here. That's probably the reason I don't have another function for extract description in particular. If you use this, it's going to default to meta. So I have no idea the state of meta descriptions on my site, but we are about to find out. So I put that into memory, and this same loop here that is doing titles, I can just switch that to descriptions. Instead of extract title, we say extract meta. And because it defaults to descriptions, that should probably be plenty. Oh, well, I'm doing the wrong append there, aren't I? It's got to be appended to that new table called descriptions I just created. There's a pandas data frame with my repetitive non-useful description, but it extracted it. And we can confirm that by going into almost any page of my site, viewing source, and seeing that migrating WordPress blog thing there. Not ideal, certainly not optimized, but the kind of stuff I will be fixing. See, there's my meta description right there. Do I have two meta descriptions? Meta name equals description, content equals migrating WordPress blog. Oh yeah, the other is an open graph. That's sort of it's a Facebook thing. But at any rate, terrible repetitiveness across my entire site. And I will have to fix that. But the description extractor is working. Now let's try the canonical extractor. I don't really have to be changing these names. I could be using the same arbitrary name in each location. But you get the idea. This should default to the canonical. I have the view source of that other page still sitting up there, so I can kind of confirm what we see here. And that did not do it. Extract meta links. Link. And there it is. Link, 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 link. You can see without the slash there, with the slash. So we know canonicals is working. So I just copied over, the ability to extract, meta links, meta tags, and meta links. All very, very useful SEO stuff. So I guess to finish that out, I should really do headlines correctly and make it support any headline. I think I did H1s only when I did this, just because that's what I needed to do, and I didn't want to mess around with parameterization, making the code more ugly. But you can see stuff coming up here, like stemming. There's neat stuff in here. Keyword extraction. But I'll wrap this particular video up with just adding headline extraction. And right now that is hardwired to extract the H1, but of course that does not seem like the way we want to do it. So see this H1 in here, that's kind of interesting because it's a little bit difficult to parameterize that. I'm going to see if square brackets are going to work there, because that would make it a lot easier to parameterize. But first we'll check with the H1 as advertised, and we will extract elements using that new function. There's our H1s, right? URL, headline, blah, 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 blah. So first thing to check is whether this will work using a square bracket notation here instead of that. If this still works, then we're in business for my next step. Did I have planned? Certainly don't need that import there. Hey, oh, nope, false. See that? Excuse me. So, you can't put soup square bracket H1. What a shame, what a shame, what a shame. Ugh. This is probably why I didn't parameterize it before. I hate to use an eval, but we do need to test something here. A little more rapid research. It's not really a page that I'm so let's re-execute that. I thought that would have worked. Well, there is of course this ugly blind try except, which I'm stripping out of everything for now. So let's see why it's complaining. Oh, get not defined. This is still using get in there. This has to be http x.get. Chances are that was an issue in there as well. And an issue in here as well. Got to be very careful about that. I also want to get rid of the blind try accept until I'm more confident with what I'm doing here. And this last one here, I'll put our handling in again soon, except while it's under development, I should not be doing blind try accept. So here's my H1, and now I can do a legit test here because those errors were too compromising. Yeah, I didn't like that. Key error H1, that's closer to the kind of error I was expecting out of here. So that's interesting. So the question is, how does one parameterize this? It might have to be an eval. But that's probably a topic people have discussed a lot. This is a beautiful soup thing, so let's just do a quick Googling here. Ugh. Yucky, yuck, yuck, yuck. All right. So we're going to test it with an eval to see if using an eval works. So if this works, and it does, and one of the things we want to do is just restart kernel and clear outputs, because I was almost bit by not doing that just a moment ago. That get being in memory was a result of that. So this works. Evals are a valid way of parameterizing this. So we're going to turn that into an F string and turn this into curly brackets, and then pass that in as an option. Hx equals h1 as default, and now you can feed in any hx. Okay, so it should work on h1s by default, but it could be changed to any one, and this is probably not good. Good. And let's grab h1s and h2s and all that happy stuff now using our functions. None no attribute type string. So at some point, let's see, extract h1, text data. Title equals eval soup string, so soup string none. Yeah, so it's that attempt to do has no attribute string. It shouldn't be extract h1, it should be extract hx at this point. Page x, soup string, defaults to h1. And it always is at least h1. Oh, we don't need to do this, this stripping twice, I believe. Eval equals soup. Oh, interesting. There's that string. So if we take that out there, and we put this here, it'll probably be the same error. I'm just pushing things around. It seems like I'm doing a double strip. And it seems like if that's title, then all the stuff that actually happens to it should happen to it here, and the eval should be as little as possible. Yeah. The error is just going to be pushed down to the next line, really, but it'll probably give me a little more insight because it's not in the eval. Something's probably coming up empty with a headline, and I just need to make it able to gracefully handle that situation. So it's still the same error, none type. Title equals eval. See, I didn't even think that strip was here anymore. Did I not execute this? Title equals eval soup string dot soup. See that? That's just that strip in extract h1. I don't have it called extract h1 anymore. Oh yeah, that's right. I have to update it here because I updated it. This is the penalty in the price of Jupyter with renaming stuff without restarting the kernel and everything. So this is more what I was expecting. The error was moving from this line, which is executing fine, down to this line because object none type has no attribute string. So we can just throw an if title around there. So it's not always going to have it. Or an if, yeah, an if. So when this happens, it might not actually come back with anything. So if title, and that keeps our return value potentially being false when no titles are found, which is fine. I might change that to none. Sometimes none is a better choice. The word none ends up converted into your database as NONE, but you know, we'll see as we go. These are final detail implementations. But now we have a H1 here, and PD, oh yeah, because I restarted from pandas, import PD, and I will put that because I think that's something I'm going to be doing all the time. Now that I've started looking at pandas data frames, I'm going to be looking at pandas data frames a lot, so I'll stick that in here. So it's always part of my imports. Oh yeah, import pandas as PD. Oh, I probably didn't need to repopulate that variable, but so what? And there's our URLs and our H1s. Now I should be able to just say H2 as a string here, as an input string. Untype as H2. Top equals H2. And then going down into here. If title. Oh, so it's coming up with a title, but then the string replacement is failing. Well, a string replacement should only try if another check is occurring there, or succeeding, such as the case may be. If title. So it's failing on strip. So string is the part with the none type. So that goes if title and title.string, because of short circuit evaluation. That's probably the best way to do that. Change the column name to H2. And there's our H2s. A lot of falses in there. There's a few in there, and they change so that I know they're actually being set. But the word false is not what I want coming back as my default. So we'll change it to none and see what the conversion stuff does on that. So return value, always setting a default. That's just a good practice. And that's what survives if nothing else changes the return value from what you set. That's just a good way of having a conceptual handle on what's going on in your functions. The word none is surviving in there. That's probably not what I want returned there. So, you know, it's returning the word none, and it's actually being preserved, right? Oh, well, that's a true none in the data frame. So the type here is none. It's not a string none. That's fine for it to be in a pandas data frame like that. We could always look at the shape that it's constructing this out of. Table of tuples, most likely. Oh, that's just the URL. It's H1. Table of tuples, most likely. Yeah, there it is, table of tuples. And I can see it's a Python none data type and not a none string. So that's perfectly fine to keep it that way. And there we go. It's a lot of repetitive H2s, something I'm going to have to fix. But we do have the extractor now, and that's pretty awesome. Restart kernel, clear outputs. That is a good enough step forward that I want to get, before git commit, nb dev clean nbs git commit, added hx extractor and others, git push. And there you have it. There's now grabbing meta tags, so meta descriptions most frequently, grabbing canonical tags, link tags, so canonical most frequently, grabbing titles, grabbing any headlines, and so that's pretty good. This is coming together as a pretty rocking, good library. Soon I'll get up to such things as extracting SERPs, extracting keywords from the page, extracting, stemming, all kinds of stuff. Just you can natural language processing stuff, data science stuff, also SEO stuff. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you again soon, and don't forget